everyone, this is Kevin from FSMOne Malaysia. Just a quick introduction, I'm currently a senior research analyst in FSMOne and part of the research team. So before I go to start my presentation, let me go through the slide for a quick one in case it's pop out a blue screen. Okay, works smooth. Well, before I enter my presentation, just a quick disclaimer. All materials and content here is not investment advice, and if you want to invest in anything, you should be responsible on your own investment decision. Well, as what Sheng has mentioned just now, my session is all about reviewing. Usually when you see me on the stage, I will be the one who giving you investment advice. What and where should you invest next? But today, I'm going to add something different. I'm serve as a guru discipline to my team. Are we, research team, giving you the good advice and giving you the right direction to invest in? Just a quick look on this chart. Overall, from year-to-date wise, from December 2023 to I think it's July 2024, overall is showing uptrend. This year has been somehow eventful year. We started the year with 6 rate cuts expectations. And subsequently, next one, March, we have experienced the technology sector's first quarter upbeat earnings, particularly digital economy and also semiconductor. Why? Because of the AI frenzy. Next one, about end March, we have a Middle East geopolitical tension. Basically, it's because of Israel-Hamas conflict. And last but not least, NVIDIA and Apple, two of the poster boys, they joined the 3 trillion market cap club. So it means that the technology sector as a whole actually is already experiencing a rally since December of 2023. Back to Asia. Geopolitical tension is not a new stuff for us, where we have some of the events, including the China 2 session, or even this week, we have China 3rd plenum. So what new stuff come out from the Xi Jinping? Well, to be honest, they are still more or less the same. I mean, they are very emphasized on the tax sufficiency. They are trying to encourage growth. But ultimately, how should you position yourself in China equities? Fear not, we have experts later on to answer your question as well. And also, the other one that I want to highlight, Japan. Japanese equities, probably one of the best performing markets this year. First and foremost, corporate reformation. Topics that came out and tell all the Japanese equities, hey, you need to do something, else I'm gonna kick you out from topics. So that is one of the reasons that Japanese equities has experienced a huge rally that hasn't been seen for many years. And also the second things that I want to highlight, BOJ, Bank of Japan, they started a rate hike in I think about March, and they start to have begun a policy normalization, meaning that they have exited their negative interest rate policy rate. Coming back to Malaysia, one of the best performing market as well. Start of the year, we had infrastructure revival and data center thematic policy, where if you are investors that like Malaysia equities a lot, at the start of the year, as long as you invest in those construction, property, even utilities, those stocks probably give you some profits since then. Next one, USD MYR, we hit a pretty high level, probably at the all-time high, near to the all-time high level at 4.79. So subsequently, the government and also Bank Negara Malaysia, they step up. The government, they encourage the GLC and also GLIC to repatriate their earnings back to Malaysia in order to support ringgit. And also, from the reduce of the foreign reserve, we can indicate that actually the Bank Negara Malaysia, they are also doing their job in terms of supporting ringgit. And last but not least, subsidy rationalization. Another thing that a lot of Malaysia investors is going to be concerned about. With the subsidy rationalization that we have been experiencing, actually our government has been quite generous in terms of providing subsidies. What's next after they pull back these subsidies? Is it going to hamper our equity market that much? If not, we also have experts from Malaysia equities market to answer your queries as well. Well, this table is just a quick some of the data that illustrate that further emphasize what I have mentioned just now. From top part of the table, you can notice that Taiwan, technology, Japan, US, all these technology-related either sectors, either it's countries, they are the best performers. On the other hand, emerging markets, Indonesia, Brazil, Thailand, because of a political instability, they are the worst performer. But what I think worth to highlight here will be Malaysian small cap, as you can see, number 4, and also Malaysia as represented by KLCI. One of the best performing market that I can say that it probably spooked a lot of people, where no one has think of Malaysia can be outshining a lot of peers for many years. So yeah, this is all about reviewing. Actually, this slide is one of my favorite slides. If you are following our course closely, usually on an annual basis, we have 2 major events. The first one will be recommended funds, and the second one will be what and where to invest, where we usually have at the start of the year. This slide, I've presented it 6 months ago. So some of the these are some of the key highlights there, where we have come out with a view of macro, fixed income, and also equities. Since I serve as a guru discipline here to review what is the accuracy rate of our course, here's the figure. First one, at the start of the year, when market is expecting a 6 rate cuts, and even some of the research houses, they are expecting, maybe it couldn't be that much of rate cuts, probably going to be 3 or 4. But at the same time, we are one of the most contrarian research house, where we think that because inflation is going to be stubborn, your rental, your home price is going to be laggards despite a major downtrend for inflation. That is one of the reasons that we think the Fed is going to be very cautious in terms of interest rate. So that's why we think interest rate is going to stay higher for longer. And ultimately, we think that our base case, there will be no rate cuts for this year, and even if there is there's a rate cut, there will be only 1 rate cut for this year. Next one, despite last year, one thing that everyone are worried about, recession. But ultimately, we all know we didn't experience recession in terms of economic growth, in terms of GDP that much. But because of this looming recession, we do think that there are still plenty of opportunities out there. Some of the countries that we like, US, Taiwan, Korea, Singapore, Japan, Brazil, Malaysia. Although overall, Brazil has been delivering a negative performance, but ultimately most of the markets that we called last year managed to deliver a positive performance. And even because of our strong conviction towards AI, US, Taiwan, and also Japan, they managed to be one of the best performers. And on the other side, China and Europe, we are holding not that kind of positive view towards these 2 regions. And ultimately, they have been delivered somehow moderate performance since then. So I'll call a hit for that. Next one, fixed income. Under our assumption of interest rates going to higher for longer, and also because of global uncertainties, we encourage investors to stick with a short duration. And also, if you want to invest in fixed income, investment grade will be a viable option for you. While on the other hand, Malaysia bonds, we think that Malaysia bonds are served as a stabilizer in your portfolio, that it is a place that you shouldn't ignore. Overall, in terms of global investment grade, because of this year, high yield has been rebounded very much, so it's still a miss for us. While investment grade, overall, because of US yield environment, actually the short duration perform better than the longer duration. And also Malaysia bonds, based on our data on the platform, Malaysia bonds average return has hit about 4%, and we'll call it a hit. And last but not least, equities. We think that this year will be a year for equity, and overall, equity has been performed pretty well, as you can see from table previous just now. So next one, if you want to invest in equities, which space should you invest? First, high quality companies. What is high quality companies? Basically, those companies are categorized as the company that can provide you growth while also provide you stability at the same time. Let's say for a company, I just give you an example, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is one of the strongest growing company And also at the same time, the fundamental, I mean, in terms of the accounting, the balance sheet, the cash flow, the income statement, they are all pretty solid. At the same time, economic mode. Some of the friends that are working in IT industry, maybe they are very familiar with CUDA, which is one of the strongest economic mode for NVIDIA that no one of the competitor managed to beat it. So this is one of the criteria that we very focused in, and as a result, we think high quality companies will be one of the options that you should invest in equities. Next one, digital economy and semiconductor. Because of the AI frenzy, we do think that it worth a place in your portfolio. Next one, Asian equities. Because of our not a kind of positive coin in China, we think there are still other options if you want to invest in China. Korea, Singapore, and Japan will be the option. And last, Malaysia equities, we hold a weak view and is a hit rate. In terms of currency, we hold a neutral view on US dollar, and Japanese yen, Korean won, and Malaysian ringgit, we hold a positive view. Ultimately, because of the stronger than expected appreciation in terms of US dollar, overall, most of these regions, their currency has experiencing a depreciation since then, particularly Japanese yen. Despite the Bank of Japan, they have exited their negative interest policy rate. So overall, same slide, but with colors, is illustrating what are our hit rates for the year. And yeah, I think overall, out of 11 key investment teams, we have managed to get about 83.3% of hit rate. So this is the number that we think that probably we did a great job on that, and hopefully my boss can notice on this number. So yeah, jokes aside, after explaining all the key investment teams, next one, how should you leverage on it? So here I would like to introduce also our new recommended fund list, FSMOne recommended funds 2024 and 2025. Well, overall, just a quick one. What are our parameters in selecting the recommended funds? First and foremost, we come up with a quantitative parameters where we think that performance is probably one of the best indicators for us to evaluate how good is a fund manager. Well, overall, performance, meaning that return, risk, standard deviation or volatility of the funds, and last but not least, expense ratio, because the expense ratio, it could erode your fund performance as well. For equity funds and balanced fund, we put more weightage on it, where we think 60% would be the good number for that. While for bond fund, because bond fund will usually stand as the stabilizer for your portfolio, it not means to give you a sexy return. So that is why we emphasize more in terms of risk, where we allocate 30% of weightage on it. So in terms of quantitative parameters, basically we have built a models and we input all the historical data and we come up with a ranking for each fund. Does it mean that the funds that have a best ranking is the recommended fund? Actually, it's no. Apart from the quantitative, we do have qualitative parameters. Well, some of the qualitative parameters including management team, portfolio positioning, fund size, and many more. So basically, after we come out, we came out with rankings, we will have a very intense debate among all the investment teams. And finally, we'll come out with the last result. So I think what I can highlight here will be a management team, where it's one of the criteria that we emphasize a lot. Well, throughout many years, actually a lot of funds has been outperforming. But what we very emphasize on and what we can leverage on our resource, because we as a research team, we as someone in this industry, we have the ability to direct communicate with a fund manager. So let's say if I found that, the fund suddenly have a spike in terms of performance, I can straight away email the fund manager, hey, what have you done in this portfolio? What is your investment strategy ahead? So that is one of the key criteria that we categorize it as a management team. And secondly, we want to see a consistency in terms of management team. We don't want the investment team to have a huge turnover throughout the years. So that is one of the reasons that that supporting our statement in terms of providing this list for investors to invest. So with all these parameters, have we made the right call? Are these all parameters valid? Overall, on the second statement, you can see that actually 80% of our recommended funds it deliver positive return since we have announced it in, I think it's last June. So it's illustrated on the chart on the left-hand side. And from the chart on the right-hand side, you can see that in terms of equity and fixed income, most of our recommended funds, they manage to beat their peer average. This is not a colorblind test. Well, very easy way to study this chart. As long as it's above, meaning that it managed to beat the peer average. As long as it's below, meaning that it underperformed against their peer average. So overall, just a quick one, you can see at a glance, most of our recommended funds, they managed to beat their peer average. And it's about 73.3% of our recommended funds. Well, again, I'm expecting a round of applause here. And hopefully my boss can notice on this issue as well. Okay, so overall, for this year, we have came out with 45 recommended funds, where 14 of these funds are new winners. Secondly, we emphasize a lot of consistency. That is one of the reasons that 22 funds, actually they managed to list down in they managed to win more than 3 times in the past 10 years. A quick introduction of who are the new winners here. First one, we have a new winners, Principal Global Titans Fund. This one actually, they managed to get about 32% of cumulative return in the past 3 years. Secondly, Global Islamic. Because of our view that we think quality play will be one of the options for you in terms of navigating your investment journey, this RHB Islamic Global Developed Markets Fund, they have a characteristic that slightly tilts towards quality. And with that, it managed to get about 30+% in the year of 2023. If you want to invest in Asia, Manulife Investment Asia Pacific ex-Japan Fund, one of our new winners. In terms of portfolio holdings, it does have some significant exposure in Asia Pacific tech. Some of the familiar names, TSMC, Samsung, are included in the portfolios. Next one, Malaysia, Principal Malaysia Enhanced Opportunities Fund. Well, one of the key difference compared to other Malaysia equities funds, Khaw Income Fund, will be, if we look at the fund holdings of Principal Malaysia Enhanced Opportunities, in terms of our top 10 holdings, it have a notable exposure in some of the large cap names. Tenaga, I think it has about 9%. Some of the banks, they have a notable exposure. So, with this kind of high exposure in the large cap, this Principal Malaysia Fund, they managed to be in the list as well. How they did it? They are seeking alpha via those smaller cap players. Next one, Malaysia Islamic, Khaw Islamic Dividend Income Fund. It is managed by the same team with same with Khaw Income and also Khaw JIP, meaning that you can expect a similar investment strategy in this fund, but in Islamic version. I think Hong Leong Dana Makmon, something worth to highlight. This year, we have included new fund house, Hong Leong Asset Management, and 2 funds of them managed to be in the list. One of it, Core Equity, Malaysia Islamic, and second one, Malaysia Balance, where Hong Leong Dana Marov appeared to be the winner. Next one, Global Balance. We have Eastspring Investment Global Balance Target Return Fund. If you are a believer that the yield is going to trending downwards, then you should take a look at these balance funds, because these funds, they have a relatively high exposure on those funds that have 3 years and above. Those bonds that are 3 years and above. Next one, in terms of fixed income Malaysia Islamic, we have 2 new winners, Khaw Sukuk Fund and also Maybank Malaysia Income I Fund. Well, these 2 funds, they managed to deliver consistency. So, as what I mentioned just now, when it comes to bonds, consistency is one of the key criteria that we always emphasize on. So, we have taken a look at all the fund holdings, those top holdings that the funds are holding. So, that is one of the reasons that we decided to give the awards to these 2 funds, because they managed to deliver pretty stellar performance with those holdings that we think are relatively resilient. Well, for supplementary portfolio-wise, most of the regional equity and also country equity, the winners are the same. Next one, sub-regional equity, Malaysia's small to medium company. we have Principal Islamic Small Cap Opportunities Fund. Well, this fund is the best performer compared against all the peers. I think it's managed to deliver about 10+% in the year of 2023 in this space. So sector equity, global ESG, we have onboarded this new fund, Maybank Global Sustainable Equity I Fund, and we think that the performance are worth to highlight, and that's why we decided to put it on the list in global ESG space. Malaysia is foreign exposure, principal lifetime bond. Well, actually, some of the key highlights for this bond will be it, apart from delivering the resiliency and also performance, it has some exposure towards a foreign currency bond fund as well. Next one, PRS moderate. We have AIA PAM moderate fund, where it finally back to the list again because of the performance delivered. So if you came to our event last year, actually I'm also speaking last year. Well, last year I've used nasi lemak as an illustration. How should you leverage on our investment call using a recommended funds? Well, just a quick one. Last year, I'm encouraging you, let's say if you are light on something, you should apply this theory to your portfolio. But this year, actually my boss told me, hey, nasi lemak a little bit too lame. So this year I decided to change something new. With nasi kandar, I think will be a good option for that. So how you gonna leverage on nasi kandar in terms of your portfolio? First thing, core and supplementary equity. When you are getting nasi kandar, first and foremost, what is the must in nasi kandar? Nasi and the guava. So nasi and the guava will be the core portfolio. In terms of your investment, let's say you are looking for something that can provide you a consistent, a stable, a resilient fund. Some of the country, some of the core equity that we categorize in, let's say for US, let's say for Malaysia, you need to allocate a higher allocation to core portfolio. Well, on the other hand, because of core portfolio, they are delivering resiliency for you. At the same time, you need to look for some sexy return. So that is how tactical in the case of nasi kandar is kubis and also this ayam goreng. So in terms of tactical, you need to seek for some sexy play to inject more return to a portfolio. Let's say this year you think that semiconductor is going to outperform, then you can allocate maybe 20% in your portfolio. At the same time, you think that apart from semiconductor, I feel like Asian high yield is worth to highlight also. So you can include Asian high yield in your portfolio. So basically, what are the main difference between core and also tactical? Usually tactical, although it can deliver a more lucrative return, but ultimately it comes with volatility as well. You need stabilizer and you need performance driver. So that is how you form your portfolio via nasi kandar. Well, I think this will be some of the last slide where how our key recommended funds, how our recommended funds fit into the IFAS 2024 key investment themes. I will just pause here for a while in case you want to take a picture, and I would like to take this opportunity to introduce FSMOne USD Auto Sweep as well. It is one of the latest product feature that we launched. It provides you a very high yield if you are holding a US dollar cash. My colleagues, they are going to explain it later if you are interested to know more about it. Next one, in terms of digital economy, semiconductor, New Asian Tigers, and also Malaysia, these are some of the options if you are considering to enter into these regions. I'll pause here for 5 seconds, no more. If you want to take picture. I only have 1 minute left. Okay, cool. Okay, so last but not least, fixed income. In terms of fixed income, actually, we also anticipating the coming years will be also a year of uncertainties. So that is why when you need fixed income as a stabilizer, where short duration and investment grade bond will be the viable option for you, and Malaysia bonds, although it's not delivering you a very sexy return, but why you need to hold it in your portfolio? Because of stability. Again, I'll pause here for 5 seconds. I only got 30 seconds left. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much wrap up with my presentation. And what I want to highlight here, out of 11 key investment teams, we have managed to make 83% hit rate as of the first half of the year. Secondly, recommended funds, we have 45 recommended funds. Out of them, we have 14 of them are new winners, and we managed to make 73.3% of 73.3% of last year recommended funds. They managed to beat your peer average. I think that's pretty much to wrap up my presentation. Thank you everyone, and have a nice day.